is wavering a bit today, but hopefully it will work.
It should work. I'll lay hands on it now.
All right. All right, good. But yeah, we had another final, another trophy. So things are going good.
Yeah.
Plateau United definitely confirmed as league winner. So it's a great time for me.
And you didn't talk about the Community Shield.
No, that's what I'm saying. So we had a trophy, another final, plus Plateau United, Arsenal. Everybody's doing good right now. So it's a good time.
You can rub that to my face, but hope you know I'm having a swell time with the transfer markets, and you know what I've been amassing for myself. Just saying.
Yeah. But you couldn't even beat Brighton. So anyway, let's not get into that.
Absolutely.
So we have
Let's get into the
great
conversation.
Guest this morning.
Yeah,
we have a great guest this morning. His name is Emeka Okpukpara, and he has a very, very long title, but he works with the UK Nigeria Infrastructure Advisory Facility. But I think more importantly, he became a father this weekend. So congratulations,
Whoa.
Emeka. So
congratulations to you.
If you see it, his eyes look a little red. He looks a little tired. He looks a little, shaken. But congratulations, man. That's awesome. And thanks for still taking time to come on the show. So how are you today?
Thank you. I'm well. I'm well. I've learned that sleep is a bit of a luxury, but I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Great.
You bet. All right.
So I would like to know about your background. And by the way, congratulations again. I know what that feeling is. So tell us a bit about your background for my listeners' sake and how you work within what your work is within the power sector, how it started. I'd like to know that just to kickstart this conversation.
Sure. My background is a bit unconventional for most people in the space. I was born in Nigeria, in Enugu to be exact.
Okay.
My family left for the U.S. when I was 10. After living abroad for about 2 decades, I decided that it was time to come back home.
All right.
to work in. Actually, the goal was to come do NYSC and really get to understand this country that I come from. I came back and I got a chance to work in the Ministry of Power. That's where I did my service. After doing service there, I was retained to work a little bit more on the privatization exercise, which was going on at that point. That was really the eye-opener, the aha moment for me. That really introduced me to this power sector and said, this is where you should spend your time, because the sector was opening. I was staying at a friend's house, and he had a meter in his house. Mm-hmm. So I asked him, you have a meter, and why don't you have power? And he goes, you don't understand what we're talking about. You need to come back and really experience the sector. So I spent some more time, did some research, and found all the different issues that were plaguing the sector. Okay. So that really gave me the insights on how to really play in the sector. So for me, I feel that the power sector was what drew me back, and it's what allowed me to come back and really try to make an impact in the sector.
So Emeka, so you came back and worked in power and sort of fell into that. But what did you have a background in power before coming back, or that was just where you landed because of NYSC and you built up from there?
So I have a background in finance and economics, and as all of us know, engineering is not the problem in the power sector. It's more or less a management, a coordination problem. So for me, coming in with a non-technical background, I thought would have been a big disadvantage. But hearing the issues, you now start understanding that the issues are really around project management and things of that nature.
Okay.
So, I mean, you said you previously worked at the Federal Ministry of Power in Nigeria, right? where you, of course, got to use data to drive change within the Honorable Minister's Reform and Change Management Team. When was this? And tell us about your role at the ministry. We'd like to know.
Sure. This was in 2013 to 2015.
All right.
I served as a technical assistant to the former Honorable Minister of Power, Professor Chinedu Nebo.
All right.
And this was when the sector was transitioning from government-owned to private sector-led. So this change was quite dynamic because you now had different departments in the ministry that either were spun off, like for instance, the power department and Ministry of Power was split into three. The EIS department became the organization called NEMSA now. There were a few other things that happened to get the sector ready to be a more of a private sector-led sector rather than the old public sector-led firm.
Okay, so and you've now been a partner at Next Year, one of the leading indigenous firms focused on the power sector. So was this something that you co-founded when you came out of the ministry, or what was the evolution of Next Year, and how did you get involved?
Sure. Next Year was something that I was brought into to assist in moving the power sector initiatives of the firm forward. Previously, Next Year had focused on power, petroleum, and agriculture, but it was done on from a one firm point of view. After I joined, we split up the power unit to be its own separate unit, and then also we now have a security and conflict arm. And then also the governance arm, which was the original firm, is still there, and it's still doing work in the spaces I previously mentioned. So for us, the real goal with Next Year is to build a society where everyone can live in a sense of that society where everyone, no matter creed, background, can function and actually live in, because we feel that Nigeria has everything needed to achieve that goal. So for me, when I joined Next Year, I joined to provide further impact in the sector. And it wasn't something from the ministry. Patrick Akibo, which we know very well, Wiebe, approached me and we had a conversation, and from the conversation I learned his passion for Nigeria, and it was clear that this was a firm that was going to make waves in the power sector and on the sectors we play in. So once I got the opportunity to join, I viewed it as the way I could make the most impact in the power sector.
I'm tempted to bring a question that someone asked me some time ago about power. So what's the problem with power in Nigeria? But that's not my next question. My next question is different from that. But if you want to answer that later, it's okay. But by the way, the listener, if you're just joining us, you are listening to Power Solutions. It is live on Nigeria's #1 for talk. It's 99.3 Nigeria Info. My name is Collins. I should have started with my co-host. His name is Dr. Wiebe Boer. And we have a special guest. He is the Deputy Power Component Leader of UK Nigeria Infrastructure Advisory Facility. And Emeka Okpukpara Jr. is his name. But I'd like to know, really, tell us about the UK Nigeria Infrastructure Advisory Facility. What's the work in Nigeria, and what exactly is your role? When you say Deputy, what exactly is your role? I'd like to know. And what's your work in Nigeria? Yeah.
Sure. So UKNAIF is a 4-year, £72 million program that's focused on technical assistance the real goal is it aims to improve lives of some of Nigeria's poorest people by improving the way infrastructure is designed and delivered in the country. The program is active in three spaces: power sector, the federal road network, and infrastructure finance, which includes public-private partnership and capital budgets. We work with the Nigerian government and other international donors to really aim to transform the country, especially blocking obstacles that have been created by different things throughout time. So we come in to try to help unblock and help make the, for instance, on the power side, we're really focused on creating a contract-based market, because that's the only way we can have a willing buyer, willing seller agreement where you have a buyer buy power and the seller sell it for a price where they can recover cost and also make a bit of margin. Right now, that's not happening given the incredible subsidies that are in the power sector. So as far as what my role is, my role is to work with the agencies in the power sector, the Transmission Company of Nigeria, NERC, REA, Federal Ministry of Power, MBETs, and other power sector stakeholders to figure out and address any issues they could have around, if they need help with bringing in a technical consultant to help them design a tariff structure that works, or if it's around, let's figure out how to improve the metering in the sector, or if it's around customer enumeration. The project, my team would get in to help assist them on those projects, and a short-term delivery focused projects, because we want an instance where we come in, we help deliver the product, but we don't want to come and do the work forever. We come in, help you design it, and then we allow you to now build it going forward.
So it sounds like a role where you get to create impact and see the impact very quickly. So look, let's move on. We were going to focus today on mini-grids.
That's right.
So I guess mini-grids is one of the areas that you must be focusing on within this program. So just for the listener, I mean, we've had people talk about mini-grids and so on, but you've been in this for a while. So give us a clear and simple definition that the average listener out there can understand. What is a mini-grid? Break it down for us.
So a mini-grid, most people will look at a grid as the national grid. That's what we've heard forever. But a mini-grid is a smaller, compact, robust grid that contains generation through either solar, gas, or even a diesel gen. But it feeds into a smaller grid where the one person controls all of that. So literally you have a scenario where you have one developer who generates, transmits, distributes, and collects energy. The ideal mini grid would be one that has a metering system that allows the guy to collect what each person uses. The key difference between a mini grid and the normal national grid is that most mini grids are between 100 to 200 homes or businesses, and the average size is less than 1 megawatt. So the national grid is about 4,500 megawatts is what gets to the grid, but this one is a much smaller modular system, around 1 megawatt.
We know that the mini-grid sector recently has received some kind of development. Of course, it's developing really recently. I'd like to know what you're doing to drive any form of? Is there any intervention for the sector in this regard?
Yeah. So for the program, as I mentioned earlier, we're focused on a contract-based market, both on and off grid. The reason the off-grid market is quite important to make it contract-based is currently there's a number of projects that are going on in the off-grid sector that are grant funded or donor financed, which presents monies to developers to do projects. But the problem that normally happens is most of those projects, the ones that were designed in the past, have not been contract based. So once the donor money dries up, you not have an issue where the people cannot pay for the service. And if they cannot pay for the service, the project has a risk of failing in the long run. So our focus is really to drive the sector to contract-based and off-grid sector. But the key to that is creating investable mini grids, where you now have a mini grid that you've cost, and you can see how the developer can make its money from the project. Currently, over the last few years, there's been reports that there are no active mini grids in Nigeria that are profitable. So we're working with the REA to look at models on how to design a mini grid that's profitable, hopefully to then replicate that throughout the various states and the various zones in the country.
All right. Well, I'm an investor. My company invests in mini grids, and we have many profitable ones. So we'll have to talk.
Really?
Yes. Okay. So, but look, how can we do more to push for mini grids in the sector? I mean, I think people are starting to get to understand what they are, but I don't think we've really understand the sort of transformational impact they could have. So what else is being done in the sector for them? And then also for the Lagos listener, how would they work in a more, sort of urban setting like Lagos? Could they work here?
Yes. So I'll take your second question first. They could definitely work in an urban setting. There's a class of customers we call underserved. Those are people who are connected to the national grid, but they don't have access more than, I believe it's 4 hours a day. Mm-hmm. So you could set up a system where you have interconnected mini grids, where you come to the example most people give is you come to an industrial cluster and you set up a mini grid and you take up power to use that to use the power you've created to feed those industrial clusters and remove them from the grid. That there's an example of that in Wuse market right now. It's something that Budget Disco partnered with GVE on, and it's I believe the GVE supplies at night. I'm sorry, during the day with solar, and then Abuja Disco supplies at night. So those options are there, and those are quite possible. And then as far as what is being done to make the public a bit more aware, there are angles that are being followed, but I think the key model that folks are now realizing is mini grids should be used for productive use as the anchor client. Once you have an anchor client who has agreed and signed a power purchase agreement to use your power in that space, then you have the liberty to now send the power to do the social side of the business. But you can't take power to a certain location and just say we're going to give the people power, because most likely they will not be able to pay. So you've got to use it as a business first. And then once you have that taken off, you can then use the rest of the power to do the social side of the business.
Great. Our time is fast spent. I have a number of comments here before I give you what I would consider my last question to you quickly. This one says, Damlola from Ikorodu says, situation of power in Nigeria is we sell lights to other countries and we suffer still, and this country we're giving power to does not even have power. I don't make sense. I can't make sense of it, but I think it has to do with there's this thought somewhere. I think it's a good one that I don't know if it's a thought or a reality. You know, we hear people say, we give light to other countries and we don't have light. I've heard that common straight. I mean, would you want to comment on that, Wiebe or Emeka?
Well, I think we should let Emeka comment on that. He's the expert.
Okay, Emeka.
I think you're more of an expert, Wiebe, but no worries. I'll comment. So yes, we give light to other countries based on agreements that were signed.
Okay.
There's a few agreements that are signed based on the water flows, and because I think two countries, two of our neighbors can't use the dams. We now say, all right, we'll then substitute, and we will give you X number of megawatts of power every day. So those are agreements that have been signed, and we can't get out of them because they're binding. And if we understand the issue with Nigeria, it's not that we don't generate power. Generation is not the problem. So there are distribution and transmission issues that need to be addressed as far as their interface. So even if we stopped giving power to those other countries, we still wouldn't have more power in Nigeria. So I think that's what a lot of Nigerians don't understand.
Great. We really have to go. I can see a lot of comments here. Sally saying that he's 65 years old. He said the power issue has been like this since he was a little girl. And saying that she was a little girl, ma'am. And she says it would never work because we don't want it to work, period. So, I mean, what optimism would you give someone who has this mindset? I mean, how would you react to this as we go, Emeka?
So we live in Nigeria where most Nigerians will agree that 9 out of 10 things don't work, right? So why do you expect power to work? That should be the baseline. But the key, the thought is there are things that are happening that are going to help the power sector ahead. There's a few things around metering that we saw over the last week that's going to happen. There's a intervention from CBN trying to tighten the cash flow issues. There's also talks around this new tariff increase, making it more service level based rather than just a flat tariff increase. So those sorts of things, I believe, will help us move the sector forward. But as far as if we're dead and buried in the power sector, no. I think it's going to take a bit more work and a bit more, Nigerians don't like this, but a bit more patience from Nigerians for us to get to where we would like to go.
All right, that's it. We have to let you go. So a yes or no question now. Where are we going to be in the next 3 years? Somewhere better or otherwise?
Oh, I wholeheartedly believe we'll be somewhere better.
So we're going to hold you by your word.
All right.
Wait, next 3 years from now. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
No
Emeka,
problem.
for coming on and sharing with us. We'll have to bring you back later.
Yeah.
But, again, congratulations on the birth of your first daughter, of your first child. And thanks for taking out time. And now please go back and focus on her and focus on your wife and have a fantastic week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Collins. Thank you, Wiebe.
Thank you very much. And that's
Bye-bye.
it for this morning's episode of Power Solutions and indeed for What's Up Lagos for today. You can always get this conversation on our page on Facebook. It was streamed live, so you can get it from there. In the meantime, Yvonne Ohaifo is here for the news right after the break. Well, let's do this again tomorrow. My name is Collins. Teke.